I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. Hi and welcome to Learning for Life in the UK test part 69, Isaac Newton on page 31. By doing wrist training, and if you participate in wrist training, it is at your own risk, but we will focus on Isaac Newton, named here by the way, Isaac Newton. That's the main part, where we have Isaac Newton and where we have Sir Isaac Newton. So, Isaac Newton, 1643, 1727. Well, we remember it like we did it with William Shakespeare, 1564, 1616, and King Henry VIII, his reign, 21st April 59 and 28 January 1547. Yes, 1547. Isaac Newton, 1643, 1727. Actually, but it's not so hard. 1643, 1727. Isaac Newton, 1643, 1777. Born in Lincolnshire, Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon in England. So Isaac Newton was born in Lincolnshire. That is in Eastern England. In Eastern England, there were also the Iceni, led by Boudicca against the Roman invasion in 43 past Christ, after Christ, led by Emperor Claudius. And in Eastern England, there were the Vikings. In 789, they started to first visit or invade or make raids into England. And they went settled there in a region called Danelaw, and there are still names after the Viking language, for example, Grisby and Scunthorpe. So Isaac Newton was born in 1643. In 1643 in Lincolnshire. That is in Eastern England. Isaac Newton first became interested in science. We know that Charles II was also interested in science. Charles II founded the Royal Society, and that is the oldest surviving scientific society in the world, and the Royal Society was formed to promote natural knowledge. So Isaac Newton was firstly interested in science when he studied at Cambridge University. So we know another name. Cambridge University is a place in England. We know of the York Minster, there's the stained glass. And we know of the St. Paul's Cathedral that had burned down in 1666 but was rebuilt under the architectural leadership by Sir Christopher Wren. A book is written about this rebuilding of London and the St. Paul's Cathedral by Mr. Samuel Pepys. Samuel Pepys. And another place of Westminster Bridge, which we know, and the House of Parliament. And there must be somewhere an oak in which Charles II hid. But we don't know if that oak is still standing from the book. Maybe we know it as humanity. So, Isaac Newton, born in Lincolnshire in 1643, became firstly interested in science when he studied at Cambridge University. He became an important figure in the field. Luckily, our English is already quite advanced, and we know that they mean in the field of science. So he became an important figure. We know of a controversial figure in Ireland, that is Oliver Cromwell, because he was sent to the rebellion which had begun there in 1641, because the Catholics in Ireland saw it as a threat that the Puritans, the Protestant Puritans, and the Parliament had grown in power, and he was sent there to stop the rebellion. But he was successful, but he did it with so much brutality that he is a controversial figure. And now we know of an important figure, and that important figure is Isaac Newton in the field of science. Let's do this training. We're having the hands next to us, fallen to fists. Did I say that we're doing wrist training and that it's on risk? Yes, I did. If you participate in it. Bitte set your risk. We're having the hands next to us, formed fists, and we're bringing them down. And again up. And we're having 3 rules. The first rule is that we're stopping immediately as soon as we feel pain. The second rule is that we're going only as far as we can go with a little bit of effort. And the third rule is that we're not overdoing it. We're stopping even before we're reaching our potential. So we're going up, and that was it then. With this exercise, which is called a spotlight, not a flashlight. Same setup, but now the flashlight is going from left to right and right to left. But it has the same rules as the spotlight. And these are that we're stopping immediately as soon as we feel pain. That we're going only as far as we can go with a little bit of effort, and then we are turning it around and going into the other direction. And the third one is that we're not overdoing it, so we're going to be outside and back to the first position, and that was a flashlight. Let's do the next two directly. The magician setup. Now that we're having flat hands, and we're bringing them to the inside and to the outside. A few more times. Let's make these times 2. And this was the last time. And we're doing one more exercise, the pancake flipper. Starting is the same as we did the last exercise, and now we're opening these palms to the sky, and we are bringing them down again. Still by these 3 rules. If there's pain, we're stopping immediately. The second rule is that we are not going too far, or rather, we're going only as far as we can go with a little bit of effort. And the third rule is that we're not overdoing it. We already had done 3 exercises, so let's say that it's okay. Isaac Newton, born in Lincolnshire in 1643, and he became interested also. He became interested while he studied at Cambridge University, and he became an important figure in that field. His most famous published work was Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica. Now for that we're getting a translation. Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica. The other 4 words are, I need 5, Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy. So the title of it is translated from Latin Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica to English Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy. Now, I don't think we will get explained a bit what natural philosophy is. But we have a little bit insight of what this book is about, which showed how gravity applied to the whole universe. So there's gravity, and so Isaac Newton showed in his book, he explained it in his book, how the gravity works in all the universe. So there's gravity everywhere in the universe, and he explained how large objects, massive objects, are drawing things towards them, and so on. Newton also discovered that white light is made up of the colors of a rainbow. So there exists white light, and I think they mean just light, as far as I know things about Isaac Newton. They mean the sunlight, and they mean that the sunlight is not in one color, but that it has the colors of a rainbow. I don't know them, but that is something like red, yellow, green, white, and purple or something. Not purple, the other color, more rosa or something. So he discovered that light is not just when it had rained in the colors of a rainbow, but that light has always these colors of a rainbow. We just can't see them. And if it had rained, there are these raindrops in the air, and then we can see that the light comes into the water bubbles of a rain, and then the light breaks. And when this light breaks or something like that, we can see it with the eyes that the light has actually multiple colors and it's not white. And we can see that if it had rained and there's a rainbow and the sun is shining onto rain somewhere else, so we can see a rainbow somewhere else, all this, he discovered that that is so. And that it's everywhere, so we just are able to see it with normal eyes if there's a rainbow. He discovered that, and he wrote the book Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy, in which he had written about how gravity works in the universe. Let's say it like that, because if we say it with the exact quoting words, showed how gravity applied to the whole universe, that's easy to misunderstand. Many of his discoveries are still important for modern science. Of course, he wrote about gravity and how light looks. This will be probably forever important. So many of his discoveries, so gravity works, about which he wrote in his Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy, and that the rainbow has multiple colors, and they don't say which discoveries. So many of his discoveries are still important for modern science. We prove with Isaac Newton. We don't explain where the Sir on the other page comes from, but it is Sir Isaac Newton. But we're just saying here Isaac Newton. We are doing the last exercises, last two. The hands out, the flat arms, and we're bringing them down and up. And that is the T-Rex in the morning. And we will do mostly now wrist training. And the last time up and down. And now to the T-Rex in the gym. Take the tennis ball into your hand like this. If you don't have one, just do it without one. And we're pressing onto the tennis ball with moderate force. And we're pressing a second time. And we're pressing a third time. And I'm switching over to the other side. We're pressing onto the tennis ball. And we are releasing it again. And we're pressing a second time. And we're releasing and we're pressing a third time. And that was the T-Rex in the gym. Now we hands out the fists, and we're doing the quadrangular castle architect. The fists to the inside, and now up, and to the outside, and down, and to the inside. That's the last. And now we're turning around, down, to the outside, up, and inside. And the last exercise, we grab anxious to the fever, hand next to us with the fist, and we're bringing this fist down, and we're pressing carefully with moderate force against it. Now we're pulling a bit from the outside. And we're pressing a bit from the top. And we're pressing a bit bottom against the third finger. And we're doing it now on the other end. Hand to the fist, bring the fist down, and we're pressing a bit against it. And we're pulling a bit from the outside. And we're pressing a bit against the other third metacarpal. And a bit from the bottom. And now just a bit relaxation. Have a long arm, make a little bend, and go with moderate pressure over the middle part of the lower arm to relax the extensor digitorum muscle, which lies there. And last time, on the other side, going over the arm. And one last time. So William Shakespeare, 1564-16. Now I have confused with Isaac Newton. 1564-1620, 1660. 1564-1616, born Stratford upon Avon. Just upon Avon. He was an actor, a playwright, and he wrote, for example, and a poem writer. He wrote, for example, Midsummer Night's Dream, Hamlet, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet. Quotes of, let's make the rest. Let's make the part we never repeated. He wrote about kings and queens, but also about ordinary people. He wrote about ordinary men and women. He dramatized and fictionalized. Dramatized was just written here. And there's the Globe Theatre in London, which is a replica of theatres which were standing back then. During the time, I don't have time left to say that there's still William Shakespeare, but Isaac Newton, 1643, 1727, born in Lincolnshire. He went to Cambridge University, then he got interested in science, and he became an important figure in the field. He published Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy, in which he talked about gravity, and he discovered the light had rain was a rainbow color. Thank you very much, and until next time.